I'm John Morton, and I'm a writer, creator, whatever you want to call me, for Ninth Space Calvary, a series I'm hoping you are going to pick up. Let me adjust my mic for a second. So, what I'm here to talk to you about today is one of the characters of Ninth Space Calvary, and I wanted to just spitball it out there. And in large part, because I'm writing a scene with him right now, and I'm like, man, does this guy get the spotlight? He's the leading guy in Nine Space Calvary. His name's Erwin Pallette. I'm like, originally this guy was a plot device. Um, his commanding officer was Rachel Cornos. He was just kind of the guy who was just wild. He loved to fly. He would do stupid tactics. He would spitball it out there, and at the end of the day, he was going to come out alive. In Apocalypse Now, it's described as you just knew he was going to nothing was going to hurt him. So he just started out as being that guy who just wanted to fly anything. And as the story progressed, Rachel kind of took a backseat and he came forward. And he developed into a fully round character. And to the point in A Serious Affair, he's all that. He's becomes her commanding officer instead of her being his commanding officer. He's moving on in life, and great. When I started writing, I didn't really ever expect him. It was mostly because I had to cut other storylines down that he becomes this. I never expected him to take a central role. And so, of course, when you write a sequel, you're like, well, how can I top the first one? And of course, bringing Erwin Pallette back just came natural. I wanted to bring other people. I said, no, I'm bringing him. And just tell another storyline with another bunch of people. Well, Erwin Pallette comes back. Because of his storyline, it created numerous threads that you could reweave. And so in The Great Space Lift, which is the sequel to A Serious Affair, he is now in the front seat. He's driving the machine. And I'm going, how does this happen? How does this minor character become the guy driving the machine? He's Fred driving the mystery van, or mystery machine. And so I go, okay, I need a sequel to The Great Space Lift where I can put Daphne there, or I can put Velma there, or there's just somebody else driving the damn van. And so I created Ninth Space Calvary, which had all kinds of different dynamics in it, and who comes back is but Erwin Pallette. I have to bring him back. He was the guy, he was the driving force. And it's kind of, I'm doing the point now, I'm at the point where I'm writing his exit. And he has now become the mentor character. He has mentored everybody, he has made everybody better, and now he needs to go away. Literally go away. I have thought about killing this guy, unfortunately. But in a sense, you can't kill Erwin because the story has revolved around him for so long. So I want to kill him, though. But it's a question of how to get him to exit at this point. And part of throughout Ninth Space Calvary has been this nagging question through him of, will I stay or will I go? And of course I know the answer to that. I know the answer to that because I plot these things out way ahead. But to the viewer, it's wonderful to just play this little puppeteering game of, will I stay? Will I go? And it's created a real dynamic in the storyline itself because you have other people who know Erwin. You have Susan Day, who comes to us from, of course, the Great Space Lift. You have Michelle Bartlett, who studied him, who has an interesting perspective at one point. She says that there's no way that he will ever leave because he is much the Navy as the Navy is him. You have, of course, Rachel Cornos, his former and somewhat current lover, who is, he can't leave because he's married to his career. That's why we never had a relationship that worked. You have Admiral Bannon, who is like he's going to go. He's got to go for everyone else to be all that they can be. Yet you have Captain Adams, who's like, he needs a new adventure, and his new adventure will be on the Polaris. You have Powell, who says that Erwin cannot leave. He will have to be back in a Raptor. Erwin jumped into Raptor. He created the Raptor. Every Raptor pilot is Erwin Pallette, and he's got to go out in the blaze of glory. So you really have this dynamic of all of these people, with all of these parts of the storyline, and it really allowed me to bring them to the forward. This whole storyline of will Erwin stay or will Erwin go allowed me to bring forward them and make them the front part of Nine Space Calvary and really bring Erwin back. It was like, you're way out there, dude. We need to get you back over here with everybody else. Come on. So, that was that. And of course, everybody knew Erwin. Oh, and there's also the whole death of Georgia Brown at the end of A Great Space Lift. Spoiler alert for anybody who hasn't seen it and finds this on the YouTube like 3 or 4 years down the line. Spoiler alert, Georgia Brown does die at the end of A Great Space Lift, who's kind of Erwin's mentor. And it kind of like sets a stage of, it sets a thought process in him going, is this how I want to go out? Am I going to go out somewhere down the line? Because Georgia Brown was really the person he wanted to be. And now that she's dead, that affects him greatly. And so there's that dynamic of the storyline. Not so much that I left the thread hanging out there at the end of The Great Space Lift, because I didn't. But now Erwin, in part of Nine Space Calvary, to bring everybody back, it really is to tug at him. So while I'm the puppeteer playing will I stay, will I go, everybody in the storyline is tugging at him. They want him to stay, they want him to go, they want him dead in a couple cases. That really created this wonderful, because he was already a fully developed character. He was like the leading man. And I needed him to go from the leading man role to a subordinate role. Unfortunately, he's taking, in the whole writing process, he has actually gotten back to that leading man role. And I think, rightly so, to this respect, that he fought with me, quite literally, not in real space, but in the creative process, to be that guy. He is the Errol Flynn guy of A Serious Affair. He is the Harrison Ford of The Great Space Lift. So it's rightly so that he's taking this position in the early part of Nine Space Calvary of being kind of like the Dr. Zachary Smith of Nine Space Calvary. He's the guy who's supposed to be the special guest star. He's supposed to be there, like he helps plan, and then he leaves. Well, he doesn't leave because obviously they need him for something. So you get him again, and he's out there again. You think he's going to leave, he comes back with something else. He's got to be part of something else. Um, it's kind of like that guy who's the guest in your house who's so lovable. You love the guy to death, but unfortunately he's eating all your food. He's drinking all your booze, and he's farting all over the place, and you just want to get rid of him. So to me, in the creative process, he's done that. I think to the storyline, it gives this. For the first 10 episodes, it was giving this dynamic of, hey, he's out there, he's mentored everybody. Let let's see how that developed. Let's see what they need him for next. And that's really what it is what do they need him for next? When he's not useless. He's not useless by any means. But can we get him where he wants? Or will he go away? And I think every writer struggles with that. They struggle with this character of how and where this character is going to be. And for Erwin Pallette, for me, he has been the guy who I just can't get rid of. And I like him. He's not me. I'm not him. I think some writers, they say, well, I'm every character in there. Believe me when I say this. I'm not Erwin. I'm not this freaking crazy. But he's a guy who just won't go away. And I think when you pick up Ninth Space Calvary, you're picking up Erwin. And there's going to be a lot of fan letters that's going to say, we want to see him do more. This has been the guy who I want to see do less. Believe me, I'd love to kill him off, and I don't want to spoil it for anybody as to what's going on with him. But believe me when I say this, if this gets to season 4, episode 5, and he's still there, he is going to die. This has been John Morton for Ninth Space Calvary.